Hey guys, welcome back. It is bowl season, so it's time for me to go back into my Pac-12 After Dark rating video and see how cold my takes were. Let's get into it. So Arizona, I said they would be either hot trash or interesting, and they were absolute hot trash. Since they hadn't won a game at that point, they finally won a game. They didn't beat Northern Arizona, which was hilarious. Who did they beat? They beat Cal. They beat Cal 10-3. And that Washington State game was not interesting. Yeah, just an absolute clunker of a season for the Arizona Wildcats. So Arizona State, they faltered, but it wasn't completely bad. They finished 8-4, which is under the Vegas over under, but they didn't win the Pac-12 South. It was I mean, they're going to a bowl game. They're not as chaotic as they were, but they could have been so much better. Colorado finished 4-8. One of those 4 wins was against the Beavers, so that sucks for the Oregon State Beavers. Yeah, they went under the Vegas win. The Pac-12 South was just so bad this year, except for Utah. Not really bad, but they weren't the strong league. They weren't the strong division. Cal finished 5-7. They had some games they should have won. They had some games they didn't win, and they lost to Arizona. And they're the only team to lose to Arizona in the last 3 years. So that's hilarious. The Oregon Ducks. I think I kind of nailed this one. Promising transfer that ends up wilting. Anthony Brown was infuriating this year, and I saw him at his best. I went to the Civil War game. I'm not supposed to call it that anymore, but it was amazing how accurate he was. He was making the right reads, and it wasn't the defense. The defense was solid, except for sometimes they would just falter just a little bit, but the defense had it figured out. And players I mentioned, C.J. Riddell, Johnny Johnson, out for the year. Kayvon Thibodeau was a monster when he was on the field. And I nailed in the video I said that the Cal game was a trap game. And that was a trap game. Except the Ducks made it on top. So that was pretty cool. Disappointing season. They're going to the Alamo Bowl. They're taking on Oklahoma. They got beat by Utah twice. It was just an infuriating season. All right, Oregon State did a heck of a lot better than I thought they would. They didn't lose a single game at home. They only won 1 game away. But it was weird. They lost to Colorado, but they beat Arizona State. They lost to Oregon, but they beat up on all the other teams. It was a tale of 2 teams. And Chance Nolan, that's his name, and then Jack Leto, their version of Taysom Hill on that team, they're pretty good. Successful season for the Beavers. They'll be playing in the LA Bowl, the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. Anyway, good job, Beavers. Way to go. Stanford won 3 games. Fuck Stanford. They suck. And that's all I have to say about that. UCLA was a fun team to watch in the beginning of the season. They beat LSU. Then they proceeded to lose to Fresno State, which was wild. That game was absolutely crazy. But then the rest of the season just kind of played out as they were a good team. They won ball games. They did their thing. I'm not worried about UCLA going forward. They should be reasonably talented next year. USC was hot trash, and they fired their coach. And, they went 4-8. That was hilarious. Down with the Trojans. Utah was clearly the best team in the division, or in the league. They won the Pac-12. They beat Oregon twice by pretty much the same strategy each time. It was maddening to watch as a Ducks fan. Props to Utah. They're going to the Rose Bowl. Beat Ohio State. They really deserve it. They're well coached, and the funniest thing about Utah is there's a player on their team named Britton Covey. He is a 7th-year senior. I was at a game in 2015 at Austin Stadium against Utah, where Britton Covey was a freshman kick returner. And you look on TV, and there he was at Utah as a 7th-year senior returning kicks. Oh yeah, he returned one for a touchdown, which would eventually be the nail in the coffin for the Ducks season. Washington was hot trash. They fired their coach. They lost to Montana. It was just very bad times in Seattle, and they lost the Apple Cup. They haven't lost to Washington State in years. So, bad times at UW. Bad times. Wazoo almost won the Pac-12 North and was almost in the Pac-12 championship game, but luckily the Ducks took care of the Beavers, which took care of that situation that they had. Washington State finished the season a lot better than they started, and they fired their coach because he didn't get the shot. And that's, consequences of living life where you live, man. You can't, if you can't lead, you can't do the things you need to do, you're out. See you later. But, they're going to the Holiday Bowl, I think. Yes, they're in the Sun Bowl. They're taking on Miami in the Sun Bowl. All right, so on the whole, my predictions weren't that great, but there's a ton of stuff that happened in the Pac-12. It was a great season. It was a crazy season. Loved watching it. Can't wait for next year, and I hope you did too. Thanks for watching. Stay out of trouble.